Coming up next on Let's Refresh with Apostle Stephen A. Davis.
That's why I don't mind having down and out, as long as they got a little bit of faith to believe what I'm preaching. They're not going to always be down and out. I came to tell somebody you're already up and in. It is important to believe in the man or woman that God has given you in this season. It is important. It is important. It is important. Your title is not important. What you want is not important. What's important is to believe in the man or woman of God that God has given you in this season. If you're going to maximize in this season, you have to have a belief system, not just in the fact that God exists, but you have to have a belief system in that God has a servant in the earth that exists. I don't know who made you mad. I don't know who started following me, was never a member, and talked about me to you, and now you're nervous. What made you nervous? Who you been listening to? They'll never feel comfortable with me if they're not called to me. Now you allow somebody to interrupt your comfort and hinder the enlargement of your thinking that will block the community blessing. And I meant to say it like that because there's a community of blessings that's supposed to flow through your mind. Let me give you some scripture. You have to back up what I just said. 2 Chronicles 20, verse 20. So they rose early in the morning and went out in the wilderness of Tekoa. And as they went, Jehoshaphat stood and said, "Hear me, O Judah." Where's Judah at? That's 5 of y'all. Ashley, when you're dealing with this congregation, when you're dealing with Refresh, you're dealing with Judah. Singers, if y'all don't have a lot of energy, Judah is energized. They're loud, they praise, they enjoy God, so you have to tailor the music for Judah. They love a beat. And ye inhabitants of Jerusalem, believe in the Lord your God, and you shall be established. So we're established. And it's okay to be established. But when you move forward, that's where prosperity is. So a lot of people get settled, but they never prosper. Why don't they prosper? Listen to the rest of the verse. Believe his prophet, and you shall prosper. So if you find a believer who has been in the church a long time, but they're not prospering, it's because they don't believe their preacher. You figure out who you're going to hook up with, because you can always track the prosperity back to the mouthpiece. That's what the Bible says. In order to stop a believer from prospering, you got to shut my mouth or make it dull of you hearing. So what people try to do is try to get you to turn your ear off so it can turn your money off, so it can turn your advancement off. Prosperity is a word that you use for a journey. Established, I'm sitting here. Mama sat here. Grandmama sat here. Great-grandma sat here. Well, I'm not sitting here because I got a word. Somebody's saying something to me that says I don't have to sit where grandmama and them sit, and I don't have to sit in the wages I had last year. If I am listening, my wages should be changing, whether the job gives me a raise or not. preacher haters, you also hate prosperity. Because if your preacher can't release a word into your life, the prosperity cannot be released into your life. So this woman finds her a man of God because she needs some prosperity. They're about to make my son slave. I need some prosperity. I can't pay the debt, so I need a man of God. So I'm going to hear a man of God. I need a word. Somebody say, I need a word. See, you got to make sure you don't let anybody cancel out your word. You got to make sure you don't let orphans talk you out of the blessing when you're true sons and daughters. Some of you love fathers. You love the sound of it. You feel protected by it. You feel safe with it. But some people feel like they're hostages when you mention fathers. So this woman understands, I'm settled, but prosperity is what I need, or my boys are going to perish. My neighborhood is going to perish. The people around me are going to perish if I don't get some prosperity. People are going to die and are dying because we don't have enough money. Businesses are closing. Yes, you're an entrepreneur, but the money is not there to keep it open. They didn't close because of the pandemic. They closed because they didn't have no money. It's because they needed a word in a bad season in order to keep prospering. In order to continue to prosper, you got to have a word. So you don't need to shut the man of God off. You don't need to shut the woman of God off, especially when you see companies that are closing down. Even churches are closing down. You want to know why? Nobody's listening to the preacher anymore. Nobody knows how you've been struggling. Nobody knows how you've been waiting to hear somebody speak down into the inward parts of who you are. And they jealous because you got a word and have not even seen what the word is going to produce. They know if you receive the word, it's going to produce results because the word always does 30, 60, or 100-fold. They know as long as you're happy about the word that you're receiving, you're going to surpass them. Number two, he began to say today, he said that there are entrepreneurs, that God is about to release such blessing upon your lives that even, he said, you will bring checks and you will give checks to express how good God has been to you. He said today that there will be such an overflow in the hands of entrepreneurs and business-minded people because God needs to send it to you or funnel it through you so he can get it into the community. Number two, God's servant will reveal the wealth that is attached to your problem. The woman had a problem. She didn't have the money to keep her two sons from being taken into slavery. The man of God came into her life, not speaking about the problem, but showing her the solution while she had a problem. Every person with a problem, there is a solution or wealth attached to it. Wealth is attached to every man's problem. You're spending time around the wrong people. Wealth is attached to every man's problem. You're spending too much time focusing on the problem. You're using all your energy on the problem. There's a revelation in that problem, because if you solve that problem for your family, you can solve that problem for hundreds, if not thousands of families. If I solve the problem in the church, I can solve the problem in every church. I am a problem solver in the church. Let me tell you what the church's problem is. You're not raising sons and daughters. You're raising members. Pastors, ministers of the gospel, this is the solution. If you keep just raising people up, they're going to break your heart. But if you raise sons and daughters who know they have inheritance, no longer, it doesn't matter how long they sit on the pews, they know one day they're going to be used because they're children of the house. But if you keep raising those others, no matter how much you invest, they're going to walk off and leave you. I am sent to solve the orphan problem in the church, because we can't get a whole lot done because we're giving responsibility to people who are going to walk off and leave us. So you wonder why the heart is broken for the senior leader, because he put all that energy into someone he trusted and they walked off with the goods. And never said that they were the problem, not the senior leader. I have not had one person to walk off from me and come and tell everybody I was the problem. They did not say they were the problem. They made it look like I was the problem, so now I got to clean up stuff and my heart is broken. The amount of money you pay them will not make them your DNA. God's servant will reveal the wealth that is attached to your problem. He revealed to this woman, he said, "What do you have in your house?" She said, "I have nothing but a jar of oil." She was not putting emphasis on the oil. You need somebody called to your life to put emphasis on something you have not put emphasis on. I know you'll know it all, but this one has to be revealed from heaven, and you're not in heaven right now, so you need somebody to come and speak into what you have not even paid any attention to. Let me tell you this, and no disrespect if the young man is watching, no disrespect. But we were sitting in a staff meeting one day, and he was talking. And while he was talking, I said, "You have a $1 million announcement voice." I said, "Go make me some recordings and send them back to me." He made some recordings for me, and he could be advertising Nike. His voice, his announcement voice it had billions attached to it. And this is just from me listening to his voice. He was interested in these other areas of ministry, which had always failed him. When every time he opened up his mouth, millions of dollars would drop out on the floor, and he didn't even realize it. It takes your man of God to reveal the powerful characteristics in yourself, because low self-esteem will make you look down on the quality of God that's on the inside of you. She said, "Nothing but a jar of oil, that cheap oil in there. And that's not going to help me." If she thought it would help, she would have already grabbed a hold of the oil. She did not think the oil had value. She was so focused on her problem, which means she was so focused on herself, she could not see the oil sitting in the corner. She was so overwhelmed with the threats of losing her son, losing her house, losing this, losing that. She could not see the value sitting in the corner. What are you consumed by that you cannot see the value that's right there in your house? So every problem has wealth attached to it, but there has to be a revelation. Now, what is attach or attachment? It is, and what? I need y'all to read it all together. An attachment is what? There's so many times I've gotten an email and I only got the first portion. And then they would email me back and ask me, did I get the attachment? How long you gonna come to this church and not read the attachment? You've been here all that time looking sad. I changed my language, because you won't read the attachment. When you walk through the doors, the attachment was there. Because one thing about this preacher, he always sends the attachment. I'll tell you about your problem, but I'll tell you how valuable your answer is. Every problem has an attachment, which is a solution. It's almost like telling you how bad it is, but if you don't read the attachment, you will be misinformed. You will read the first page as the completion, and that is not the completion. They changed the seal, the crest, but they didn't read the attachment. The attachment says Stephen A. Davis is still alive. The problem said they have cancer. The problem said that they were mistreated, but the attachment said they are still alive and well. That's why y'all need to hear this. Some of y'all passing out because you won't read the attachment. The man said, read on. The man of God said, read on. This is what he's saying. That oil in your house. We're going to use that oil in your house. Let's take our attention off the problem. Let's read the attachment. Where did God want to take you that you didn't go because you didn't read the attachment? You were that close to me and you didn't read the attachment? How can you say wealth is not for you and you were in my leadership? You got every text message, you got every email, you got every voice audio, you were at every meeting. Why didn't you read the attachment? Why didn't they read the attachment? If they fully buy in, they will never have to worry about wages ever again. I don't know why they won't read the attachment, because people like me, when they find people who are faithful, they don't mind paying for faithful people. So as long as you have committed, you can't be fully. I'm all in. I was all in. I was all in. I didn't need the debt of the building, but I need the platform to be global. Okay. I'm almost done. See, I'm not going to just talk about helping people. I'm going to help a whole lot of people. You want to know why? I'm going to read the attachment. Number three, God's servant would speak a blessing on increase over what was considered nothing. He will speak a blessing of increase over what was considered nothing. You were preaching it last Wednesday. See, they don't believe unless they see a whole lot of something. But God sends his servant to bless a whole lot of nothing. Because as long as there's a whole lot of something, God can't trust you. But if it's a whole lot of nothing and you still believe what I said, and the blessing rests upon it, get ready for a whole lot of nothing to be a whole lot of something. That's why I don't mind having down and out, as long as they got a little bit of faith to believe what I'm preaching. They're not going to always be down and out. I came to tell somebody you're already up and in. John 6, verse 7 through verse 13. It is the fish. It's the 5 loaves and the 2 fish that you talked about on Wednesday. The little boy has 5 loaves and 2 fish. I'm not going to read the entire verse, but Philip is thinking about, well, we can use 200 denarii worth of bread. But then he said, is not sufficient for them. It's not enough. If we go and spend 200 denarii, it is not sufficient for them. Still, it won't meet the need. So let's just go just a little bit further. Then you get further into verse 8, and it begins to talk about the lad and the 5 barley loaves and the 2 small fish. But then it says, but what are they among so many? So twice in these verses, they're saying that the 5 barley loaves and the 2 fish are not enough. It is not enough. A lot of you have areas that are not enough. You know it's not enough. You know it's not sufficient enough. But all you need is the servant of God to speak a blessing over what is not sufficient. That's why you got to stop those folks from talking about your pastor. Because what was considered not enough, what was considered not sufficient enough, after it was blessed, there were 12 baskets of fragments taken up. It's no different from the oil. As long as there was capacity, the oil kept flowing because there was a blessing spoken over it. And you can't control what happens at Refresh. You want to know why? I got a word. I got a blessing on it. So whatever was insufficient now is sufficient and is overflowing. Philip said, it's not enough. If we spent 200 denarii, it's not enough. Then another disciple pipes in and says, among so many, he goes and he counts everything. I believe this was Matthew counting because he was a tax collector. Yeah. I believe he looked out there and he counted 5,000 people. And then, oh man, look at all these women and children over here. So it is not enough. For this number of people, it's not enough. But they didn't understand that the mouthpiece was about to speak a blessing over what was not enough. I'm going to say it again. The mouthpiece was about to speak a blessing over what was not enough.
This year I use the term, it will be a tsunami of positive things coming your way. So much so, you're not even going to remember half of the things that happened in 2020 and 2021, even if they were bad, because I believe God's going to supersede those. I remember throughout the Bible, whenever the children of Israel, either in bondage to the Babylonian captivity or to Pharaoh in Egypt, when they came out, there was a tremendous blessing upon them. A lot of you are postured for coming out, so God has to pay you. Somebody's about to get paid. God has to pay you for all the suffering and all the challenges that you went through, your family went through, and others that you know of have gone through. So I believe that this is pay time. So it's 2022. So everything should come in doubles or more. So everything has a twin, so you're about to get a twin blessing, regardless of what it is. God is going to bring some people into your life that's going to be a tremendous blessing to you this year. God's going to bring resources into your life that's going to be a tremendous blessing to you, because you have kingdom work to do. So therefore, God's got to bring everything that you've been believing for, He's got to bring it into your life. I believe some things that has been on the shelf for the last 5 to 10 years are now prepared for you. I would not give up. I would be very much encouraged, and I would expect the best every day. I don't know about you. I don't go to the mailbox to check for a check because I believe God can get a direct deposit to me. I believe there's some direct deposits. I believe there's some people who are having conversations about you that are going to show tremendous favor to you this year. I believe things are going to change in a drastic way. I've been preaching about it. I know it's going to happen. I've been building your faith, eliminating fear, so that you can now believe for all that God has for you. I believe this season of your life is going to be the best season of your life. That's what I believe. I challenge you to believe it with me. Don't watch me enjoy it. I want you to come along, and I want you to enjoy it as well, because we can enjoy this together. God has enough for all of us. God bless you. Enjoy this wonderful year.
Hey, if you're ever in the Birmingham area, we'd love to see you. Stop by, because everyone is welcome at Refresh Family Church. It's full of friendly people, a warm atmosphere, and a powerful word. Our service times are Sundays at 9 a.m. or our empowerment service on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. We're located at 117 12th Court Northwest in Birmingham, Alabama. We'll see you soon at Refresh. Want to find out more about Apostle Stephen A. Davis? Well, log on, because StephenADavis.org is now live. That's right, log on to StephenADavis.org now and you can find out all about him, watch live broadcasts, and get all the information you need at StephenADavis.org. Available on all platforms. Log on today. Refresh Family Church. As we worship together, remember our 5 goals: serving the needs of families, reaching the lost, equipping the saints, reaching the nations, and transferring to generations. At Refresh Family Church, we're more than just a church. We're a nation. To find out more, log on to StephenADavis.org. We'll see you next time.